Okay. Okay. Hello everyone. Thank you for coming. So this talk here, we're gonna talking about Odoo.sh. So we have often heard about it in the past couple of days. So we will see here a bit of an introduction of what is Odoo.sh, what it can be used for, and how it's working. It will be in a high level, but even so, it can be still interesting for you to remain. You can still learn some stuff. It's always interesting. So basically, we'll see what the problem that the Odoo.sh is trying to solve. So for Odoo, as you probably all knew, there are different ways you can do to deploy it, so make it online. Either you can do it with Odoo Online or on premises through some partners or partners, yeah. So the pros and cons of those two deployment methods is that on-premise is rather complicated because you have to know a lot of information about the infrastructure, like how to configure a database, what is a reverse proxy, how to do backups, how to handle maintenance, and so on. So it can be rather complicated, while on the other hand, the Odoo Online there cannot be something more easy. You just have to sign up, log in, and you are ready to go. Concerning the maintenance, it's more or less the same issue. For the on-premise, it's rather an exhausting task because you have to maintain it, keep sure that if there is some security issues, you update your Ubuntu version, your Progress SQL script, and so on, the same as Odoo, while on the online, it's done automatically. But there are a lot of cons for the on-premise because it's rather complicated. But the real advantage is that when you deploy it on-premise, you can do really whatever you want with Odoo. You can create application customization, and the sky is the limit for you. You can do whatever you want with it. While on Odoo Online, you can do some basic customization with Studio or server actions, but you are kind of limited, and when you want to do more, you're kind of stuck, and the only solution is on-premise. On the other hand, also, for the management of the server, when you are on Odoo Online, you have no control at all. You don't see the logs. You don't see if there is an issue. You cannot see anything. You don't see a lot about the server. While on-premise, you are more or less a god, and you can see whatever you want. You can see all the logs. If the performance issue, if you see the number of concurrent requests that are coming, and so on, you can see really everything you want. And lastly, something that is most often forgotten is that when you are on premise, you also have to install a mail server for your outgoing mails, which is, it's not difficult, but it's often forgotten. And so, as you would have guessed, the Odoo.sh that we are discussing now has for goal to bring the best of both worlds into them, and so this is what I'm presenting here. So now that we have seen how it's working, now that we have seen why it can be used for, when you want to use it, we can see how it's working and how we can configure it. Basically, we created the solution to be as easy as possible and as intuitive as it can be. There is just like a few concepts that you have to understand first to fully use the solution and do the best it can do. So, as we can see from the small phrase, the goal of the platform is really to focus yourself on the development, not on deployment. As the deployment, as we have seen from the previous slides, is really a different task. It's a different job and different knowledge and so on. So if you only want to create more features and let your imagination run wild, Odoo.sh is the way to go because you don't have to bother about the deployment. And custom module are the way to reach the sky. So the different features, I will cover most of the feature here. It will sound a bit abstract, but afterward I will do small demonstration to illustrate that, which will help you really see it and what it's used. But for the feature, as we have seen, a big drawback when you want to do customization is the deployment. Here in Odoo.sh, it's done automatically. It's more or less the same as Odoo Online. You just have to subscribe, provide an account, and then when your code is ready, it will be deployed automatically and updated automatically. On top of that, if for your customization you want some Python modules or some custom code that you don't want to write yourself, dependency, you can also include them. They will be installed automatically. So the goal is really like you can do whatever you want and just let your imagination run wild. So another aspect is all the features are really infrastructure related. So there will be a way for you to easily view the logs. You can ask yourself, why should I want to do it? Basically, it's really nice to have so that you can see what is going on a server. For example, I have some customization and there is some issue. I can debug it via the log viewer and see what's happening really on the server in live mode, or also see the logs from the past to diagnose some issue that could have happened a few days ago. Another really nice things that it's often an issue is continuous integration. So what does this word really means? It's a difficult word to just say that we want your production, your real environment, to always be up to date and ready for new features. So that when you have a new feature in mind, you don't have like to pause your deployment and do some complicated stuff for a new feature to arrive on the server. Here at Odoo.sh, with Odoo.sh, it is done in a way that it's really doing without creating some downtimes. So you can update your code and it will be automatically, when you want it, updated on the server. Nobody will see it, they will just see the new feature straight away on the server, on the Odoo instance. And furthermore, it also includes some tests. Tests are, if there are some developer here, quite boring and you just always say, oh, I don't care about tests, but this is really something important. So that tests, you create some tests for past features, so that new features, when you development, if it breaks previous feature, you are just aware of it, and it's really a really nice way. And Odoo.sh does all this testing when you push new changes, so that you are really aware that you could have broken something that user would have seen if there were no unit testing. Also, another exhausting task for those of you that have been using Odoo for quite a while, it's the migration from major versions. When you have custom code, when you don't have code, it's really easy, you don't have to do much. The upgrade platform of Odoo does it automatically. But when you have custom code, it can be a more exhausting task. And Odoo.sh is trying his best to make it the easiest as possible. So, in fact, most of the upgrades will be done automatically with the upgrade platform, and then you will have a step-by-step. You will have steps to update your code yourself and test it directly with the information from the production environment, so that you can directly test if I was migrating. Okay, my customization will still work, and this is done in a way that will not conflict, of course, with the production. And when you are ready to upgrade, it's just a matter of a click, and then it's deployed online. Some, again, hassle of the on-premise and feature that you have to develop if you want to do on-premise is the backups. It's also the same more or less as testing. When you start with, you have a small company or a small infrastructure, you're like, okay, it doesn't matter, it's not that important, but it's really also something that is not so complicated to do, but when it's done automatically, you don't have to do anything. In Odoo.sh, backups are done daily, so that in case you have an issue, I don't know, a client, an employee has done some nasty stuff on your database or whatever, there is an automatic backup to help you, and those backup can also be done by hand. I don't know, before you did an important operation or an operation you are scared to do, you can do a backup before, and if everything goes wrong, you can just restore it and everything will work again. Also, one aspect I have discussed is the handling of the server and its performance mainly. Often you can have the case when you write custom codes that you find yourself a service like, okay, I have customization, but it's getting so slow now, I don't understand what's going on, and there is no really way to view it. In Odoo.sh, you have some views that help you monitor your server, see, okay, the CPU load is growing faster this couple of days, maybe it's because I updated my code a few days ago. There is also a way to inspect the production and see what's really going on in the Python codes and see, okay, I see that, I don't know, I've been sleeping in that method for a couple of minutes, which is not usual, so I think this is the issue. And a lot of features that help you to find some slow behavior, like slow SQL queries. Lastly, which is a bit not about the way to handle it, but some nice notes, is that Odoo.sh has the same SLA as Odoo Online. So what does SLA mean? Basically, it just means that it has the same uptime and recovery time as Odoo Online. So what is recovery time? It's like when you have your server that, I don't know, burned for some reason or have some issue. It's happened more often than we think. Your production environment keeps alive and stays alive because of some backups servers. And for the update, the downtime, it's when you are updating your code that could cause some downtime in some cases, but in Odoo.sh it's done the same way as Odoo Online. It's pretty much transparent. And lastly, which is more like a techie thing, there is two ways to choose the way you are hosted. Either you do it on a dedicated server, so what it means is that, maybe I'll start with the shared server first. So the platform is hosting different clients and a different database onto the same server, but each database is separated from one another, and so they are isolated so that they cannot talk with one another. It's really to make it secure. But in some cases, for some reason, you don't want that because you want to be the sole proprietary of the server, and that's the idea behind the dedicated server. If you want to really be alone and do whatever you want with the server, that's the way to go, but often the shared server provides everything that you want. So it was okay. So now that we have seen what is the functionality, why I want to use it, we'll see how it works and the concept I talked earlier to understand how to use it the most efficiently we can. So the first concept that we have to understand is branches. So what is branches? So basically, Odoo.sh is working, is binding with GitHub to handle your code. So what is GitHub? For those of you that don't know, it's simply a code edition software that help you keep track of the different versions of your code. And so those versions can be illustrated in branches. So a branch is kind of a time in it's a version of your code that is, as we can see from the graph here, it's kind of, if we can say, like parallel reality, which each branch is focused, for example, for here we have the master branch, which is used to handle your latest code, and you can have some branches to illustrate it for your releases. So basically, for Odoo, it would be like Odoo 16, Odoo 17. We have one branch for each of those major versions. And when we want to do new features of fix a bug or something like that, we can just start from those release branches and go away with it and just work on it independently. Why working on it independently? Because you often have multiple developers in your company, and when everyone is working, it's the same as, for example, if you have a shared document. If everyone is working at the same time on a shared document, it can get messy because I want to edit that and another guy is editing the same line of code, so it's a bit crazy. So here with branches, you can really like go in a reality that's up to you and you are mostly alone on it. You can people can also work on it, but you can create your features, do some development, and do some changes. And when the feature is ready to go, you can what we call merge it. So basically, it's just bringing all the changes we have done to, for example, your release branches to, for example, then fix a bug that would have been present. So that's what a branch is. It's kind of abstract, but the more you play with it, the more you will understand it. The second last concept that you have to understand is that those branches on Odoo.sh will be represented in real life by builds. So what is a build? It's simply an Odoo instance that is running with some version of your code on a branch. And those branches can have stages. Basically, the stages are used to define what's the purpose of that branch. Is it a branch that I want to be in production, so for the world to see? Or is it a demo branch that I just want to share with some clients to show them the new feature or to let them play with the database without breaking anything, but just they will see it? Or is it just a branch that is used for development, just for the developers? So those builds are created each time you do some modification or on any of your branches, which help you to see directly when you push it. Basically, it's when you say, okay, I have all my changes and I just push it on GitHub and okay, they will be updated. A new build is created so that you can directly see the impact of your code. For development, it's useful to see, okay, this doesn't work, now I fix it. And for production, it will just add the new feature, for example, a custom module. So the different stages, as I have more or less teased, is the first one is the development. You can have more than one, there is no limitation on that. And so they are used for new features and are automatically loaded when created with some demo data so that you can see and play with the information, play with the features. As I've talked earlier, a really important part is the automatic test, which is done automatically when you did some change. The goal of these branches is to have short lifespan, because you only want basically use it to see if the development is working and okay, the development is ready, maybe it's time to go further and put it on production. Another aspect is when you are on your development, it can often occur to do some modification and want to send some mails, because that's what the customization does. And when you're developing, it's kind of complicated because you don't want this mail to directly be sent to your clients. So what we did in Odoo.sh is called a mail catcher. So it will just catch the emails for you on the platform and display them to you, so that you can really see, okay, the email is really it has already been sent, so the development is okay, and I can see the aspect of the mail directly from the platform and see, okay, that's what the client would receive, which is some quite nice feature uh, to just see that it's working and how it looks. Then on the completely opposite spectrum of the development, we have the production. So that's really the really important bits and the touchy parts that you can use. And as it's so touchy, there is some features that protect you against bad developments. What I mean by that is, for example, you didn't follow all the usual aspect of development and you tested that everything is okay, or you tested anyway, but when you bring those changes for the production, for some reason the build cannot work. It doesn't build because, I don't know, there is some last minute changes that have been done and suddenly it breaks everything, the build doesn't work. It will not create, if it is the case, it will not create a build that will be broken, so your database won't be corrupted and anything like that. It will just be a rollback to the latest working version, so that you are protected. And you can also see the logs, all the information of the failed build, so that you can inspect it and understand, okay, that's why it was not working. For example, I forgot to install a dependency or upgrade a version, or it can be a lot of reasons, but you can just see it directly in the logs without disrupting the production environment and the clients that are using your platform. And if it's working, there is no downtime. So we avoid to do tests for the production as it has been done in previous stages. But it's a feature so that when new features are merged and came to production, nobody knows, they just see the new features. And so the middle ground between those two extremes is what we call a staging branch. This often, for most, when they have issue understanding Odoo.sh, it's because of this. So when you have a development and your development is ready to go, you think it's working, sometimes you want to, before directly go in production and just crossing fingers, okay, I hope it will work, you are just testing with the staging environment the new feature with all the data from the production environment. So basically, we are just duplicating the production environment, all the data, everything, and we add your custom code on top of it, so that you can see, okay, it's not working in that case because in my database some clients does whatever they do. And often I have used it personally for custom, for like an SBL and so on. You can discover some really nice stuff and nasty stuff that if the staging man was not there, you would have break everything and it would not be ideal. Also, a feature that's a way the staging branch can be used is when you want to play a bit with your database without corrupting your real data. So for example, let's say you are selling some stuff on the e-commerce and you want to do some more analytics about those data, but you are not sure how to do it. You just want to play, not sure how it works. You can create a staging branch and just install some native or custom modules on it and just play and see, okay, this could work, this could not work, without breaking the production. And this is a nice feature that can help you understand and play without impacting, if you want, the production environment. Again, for the development, there is also this mail catcher, because now you have real data from clients, so it's their real email, real contacts, and in that case you really don't want the mails of your tests to be sent to them, and this is the idea behind the mail catcher. Of course, on a more technical side, when we create those staging, we have what we call neutralization. Basically, it's a mail catcher is like a neutralization for the emails. The idea is that if you have external APIs that communicate with, I don't know, your bank whatever, this neutralization just disable those APIs so that your staging environment doesn't play with API that would be used only solely for production. And this is also really interesting. So basically that was it for the boring and complicated parts. I've explained everything, how it works, how you can use it. So now come for the funny part, and we will do a bit of a demonstration with a custom module that I've made, and see in action what are those features and how it looks like and how it works. Yep. Okay. So let's start from scratch, just to see you how easy it is to create an environment. So as I've said, it's linked to GitHub. So when you want to deploy a new code or whatever, it can either be a new one or existing repository that will be fetched from your GitHub account, and you can say everything that you want. So let's say here I create a new one, so test XP, and here you can choose the different version that you want. We are supporting so Odoo support the 3 latest versions, but 5, so those versions can be accessible and be picked at any time on Odoo.sh. So here for the moment the 17 is already available, but there are some other versions that you can choose if you want to, for some reason, because you developed it. Your customization is done only for 15 because you came from on-premise, you didn't upgrade yet, but you can pick it. So let's go for 17, and then you just have to enter like your subscription code. On top of that, you can also choose where your data will be stored. So as you can see here, so it's a local environment, so the latency information is not relevant here, but you can see all the different area where we can host your data and your environments, and choose the one you prefer based on the latency. If I go online, if it works, I don't know if I have internet. Yes, it works. I can create and see the pings. So I am pinging right now all the different locations, and clearly see that Europe is the best for me. But even so, I can pick any other them, but I can see that I can pick Oceania, but latency really big. It's not ideal if all my clients are based in Europe. So let's come back here, and then I can just create it, and it will be deployed, and the branches have been created, and I can start playing on it. And if I go to GitHub, so it was, yeah, I can clearly see the new repository that has been created. So here I will not develop this the custom module for the example. It's not the goal here, but we can have a quick look at it. It's really a really basic one. I'm just adding some information, mainly the birthday, because I like birthday parties, so let's go with it. So here we have the look and how it looks. So here on the left we have all the different stages that I've discussed about. Here we can see that I have my production and 2 development branches. And if I want, I can just connect to the database and see what is on the database. So here I will just create a contact. Let's say him, whatever, it doesn't matter. And so the new contact has been created. So we will want to, I will go through the flow, and now with those developments, I want to test my new features that I've just created for the birthday. Here I've already built it to ensure there is no issue while presenting. But basically what I can see, here we see the different a dot in color that represents the status of the build. And if I go, for example, on this one, we see it's red, kind of illustrate that there is some failures, and I'm wondering what is it, and I can just look it up here and see that, okay, I've in fact created a test that's always full, just to show you, and this will be alerted to me, and I can just directly see that, okay, there is an issue for example here, the tests. Here for the other build, we have a warning, but to see this, you can directly see it in the logs. So there is this small here, and you can see the different logs. And so I was on the issue 1, up, and the logs, I can really scroll it and see what's happening here. And if I look it up, I will see what's the warning, what's the cause of the warning. So I can see here the asterisk of the changes. And let's see, so this commit, so a commit is an addition on the branches we talked earlier. So I did a commit, and rebuild has been done, and I can directly connect to the database with some demo data. Just take a while, okay, and see, okay, all the information, the contacts, and I can see here that my new module has been in fact installed, and I can, for example, here say its date of birth. Okay, let's go. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, so that's it. So we have seen the development, what's the different status, and how we can be used, how you can see that there is some issue in the development with the test, how you can see the errors and so on. So let's say now that, okay, the development is ready, I want to move it in staging and see if this customization is working with the staging environment. It's really easy, just a drag and drop from the development to the staging, and that's it. So now the build will be processed, and we will replicate all the information from the production environment and add our custom code. It's done rather fastly, because there is not a lot of data, and I can connect to it. And here I can clearly see that it's been a duplicate from the production environment. I see my new user that have been created, and if I want, there is nothing. The customization is not here because I need first to install it, as it was not installed in the production environment, as it was not existing. So I think this is the name of the module, maybe not. Haha, an issue. Huh. Anyway. Huh. Okay, I cannot find it. I don't remember the name, sorry. Ah, yeah, good point. I was focused on everything. So, in fact, I need, as it was a new module, I need to update the app list first, and then, thanks about that, sorry. And then I can see my new module here, download it, activate it, and now I can test the extension with my data and create it. So when you are happy, so as you can see, there is some information that is displayed straight away in the regards to help you really develop and see what's going on. So here we have been shown that the database has been neutralized, and it's just a testing environment. So no email is sent and so on. So if, okay, I'm ready, the thing is working, I'm happy with it, I can merge the changes and the new module in the production environment, and this can either be done by drag and dropping here, or can be done directly from your Git, like by pushing new changes here I will just go the easy way and merge it automatically. So it's asking me what to do, and just say merge, and the changes. Up. Huh. I don't have internet, so not working. Sorry. Okay. Up. So here I'm just fetching the information from another branch and just pushing it up. Allez. And I don't have internet sim, so what the fuck? Yeah, there it goes. Okay, so I've pushed it, and then I can see directly on the platform that's okay. The platform, I've seen it. And he has seen the new modifications, and he's building a new production environment. While it's doing that, the real production is not disrupted. It's just keeping working on it. In the meantime, we can look at some other features of the platforms. Let's say I want to look at the performance, so I will take a real database as it has more relevant information. Take one of mine. And for example, so I want to monitor what's happening and look at the resources. I can simply go through the right screen, connect to it, and just see, okay, all the information that I want. I can filter it for, I don't know, the last couple of minutes or the different days and so on. And I can clearly see here that it's not a big database. It's only be used in the weekend, but that's not the question. But I can see the history and clearly see here that the database has been created around August. Yeah. So another nice feature is the backups. You can directly see the different backups, the daily backups that we do, and for some reason you want to restore it to a previous version, you can just pick the one you want and restore it, or download the latest one. And also, if you want, you can create a manual backup yourself before doing like risky action if you want to be secure, or just download it for some reason, whatever you want. Here we also have the upgrade, which is in this case not yet available, but if you were in 15, you could upgrade to 16, and for the 17 it will be available in a couple of months. There's also a bit of you can also see, I don't know if you want to access directly to the server, but you are not a geek guy. There is like some software that you are using to ease that, and it's via the shell and editor. It's called Jupyter Lab, but that's not the ID. But here I can clearly see that I can access the server and look whatever I want on it. There is like my source code that is available here with all the information that I want. Also, a similar program to ease the development is called Jupyter Lab, and so here I can really see all the directories that I have, and in this case see my custom module and see what's on it, edit it if I want to just keep using it. I will just show maybe a last feature that we recently developed, which was it has a lot of success. Unfortunately, it can only be used on dedicated server, but it's the idea to directly connect to your database from your own machine, for example, for some BI tools, if you want to do some statistics on your database and so on. So, for example, I want to connect to SQL. As I have said, the platform tries to make it as easy as possible. So you have an info box where everything is explained, how you can use it. And even if I connect directly to the server, I see here a small pop-up indicating what are the actions that I can do. And here I can just select the one for the Postgres access. And if I run it, there's also some more help to help you find what you want and how to use it. So in this case, I can just initialize the access. And so I have some information. Basically, I can just copy paste this, if I can, up, and copy paste it and directly connect to the database. I'm asked for a password, which has been generated for security. And you can just access it. And if I do some queries, I can see all the users. Up. Let's make the full screen. Why it's not? Okay. And then here I can see all the different users that have been created on my environment. And I can look at the partners as I have created one. And here I can see that the new user is also present here. So in fact, it's the real database. So that's it. There are a lot of other features that is kind of as easy to use if you want to connect to SSH, want to use some Git submodules. A lot of everything is explained, is trying to be self-explanatory, and otherwise there is documentation and FAQ on our page. Like here, the FAQ if you have some question for the developers, depending on your roles and so on. So basically that's it. I can go back. That was it for the demonstration. But now if you have some question, there is a pad that can be accessed, or you can scan the QR code and shoot whatever question you want. I know we don't have a lot of time left, but if you have more questions, there is a booth on the opposite side of the hall where you can just come and ask us anything you want. All the team is present there, so don't hesitate.
Thank you. We're gonna still wait a few minutes. So
Yeah.
they are coming. And there are questions.
Ah, it's going fast.
Yeah. I hope you're ready.
Yeah. Hope the presentation was good. Based
Yeah.
on the question, maybe not so, but
No,
hoping
it
the
doesn't.
best.
Okay, so we can maybe start, and I will try to go with the flow. How do you send emails in production when I didn't connect to a custom mail server?
So basically, the mail server has been automatically installed by Odoo.sh, so you don't have to do anything. If for some reason you want to use your own mail server, because for whatever reason you want, there is also a way to configure it. It's explained in the documentation, so it's up to you to choose either yours or the built-in one. And it works straight away with the built-in one.
Can you connect and use third-party test APIs in staging?
Yes, you can. There is no limitation on that. The neutralization script that I explained tries to deactivate them if you want it, so that it doesn't mess with the information from the production. But if the API is working in production, there is no reason for not to work in the staging. It's the same code, so same access and so on. It will work, but often you want to deactivate it in the staging environment.
Okay, and can you create your own modules or change the code with Odoo.sh on a repository owned by Odoo?
So no, you cannot. It's the same rights as any other GitHub repository. You cannot edit the code of Odoo. You can make a pull request if you want to do some changes. But basically, as you can create custom modules, you can override the behavior of Odoo, create a new module that overrides some function and does whatever you want with it.
Yeah. So what is the benefit of Odoo.sh on the Odoo repository versus the Odoo Online, the cloud version, since you cannot own development in this case?
You cannot own.
Yeah, I think this person is asking what are the benefits on going on Odoo.sh, because it's by default the repository of Odoo.
Okay, yeah. So basically, going on Odoo.sh is only interesting if you want some customization. If you are happy with the Odoo online, with the vanilla Odoo, just say online, it will be best for you. It's cheaper. It's only when you want customization, interesting customization, it's based on you. Then you should go to Odoo.sh, but no customization. Odoo.sh is done for customization.
And they can also own their own repository
Yeah,
as well.
the idea is you have your own repository and you do whatever you want with this repository. You can edit it to whatever funny behavior you want with Odoo. It will work. There is not a lot. There is some restriction on what you can do. You cannot do whatever you want on the server, but mostly if you follow an Odoo or like an ERP style, you can do whatever you want.
Okay. About backups, what's the most elegant way to automate backups to an outside Odoo.sh instance to conserve it? Monthly backup to Google Drive or something else?
So for Odoo.sh, if you want like, basically it's done automatically for you in Odoo.sh. You don't have to store it outside of Odoo.sh because they are stored remotely on different locations. So to ensure that even if some data center breaks, get on fire, whatever reason, you have still your backups and it's not destroyed, so there's no reason for you. But if you want to discuss more, you can come to the booth afterward about that specific question.
Is there a way to host on-premise Odoo.sh on Azure, GCP?
So no, if you are not going on Odoo.sh, then it's on-premise and you have to do all the configuration yourself. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Odoo.sh is only cloud, right?
Yeah,
So
Odoo.sh, so we are hosting for the moment on Google Cloud,
Yeah.
GCP. It could change in the future, but yeah, it's on the cloud.
Okay. About the downtime, how can we decrease the downtime during deployment? Sometimes the production servers is not reachable for several minutes.
If we try to make it as small as possible, but sometimes updates need to be done. If you have really like big downtime, it's not usual, and you can contact the support or come to our booth, ask us anything you want. But it's more like a technical and case-by-case scenario. So, yeah.
Okay. We do have an interesting question here. It's when do you know it's better to use Odoo.sh than Studio, the Studio application?
Yeah. So that's a good question. It's very interesting. Basically, Odoo Studio has been created for you to do some customization, but basic ones. When you want to do more and of kind of stuck, or you have too many customization on Studio, which can be complicated to handle over migration and so on, then it becomes interesting to go to Odoo.sh, but there is no like big answer. It's if you feel that there's too much customization on Odoo on Studio or Server Action,
Yeah.
you sometimes have to try on Odoo.sh, do a real customization. Often it's better that because it's easier to maintain. You see the bugs, you see everything, you have the environment and so on. But yeah, you have to take the leap. We have often had this question at the booth. When you have too much and kind of feel lost in all your customization, maybe just take a leap once for a new feature, test it, and okay, I see that it's rather easy. I will maybe migrate everything from Studio to
SH.
SH. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is it possible to use Odoo.sh without production environments?
Yes, you can. But yeah, you can. But there is no. Yeah, you can. I don't see the point, but you can have development environments only. As we have seen when I created a new project, I only have development environments. Staging will not be available as there is no production, so no information to duplicate. But if you want, yeah, but it's expensive for just development.
Yeah.
Do it locally maybe, if it's just for development.
Okay. Another question, if your development modify the process in Odoo, the test case will be failed. How to change it to test case will be passed?
if I understood correctly, you are right that some feature could break the test of Odoo. If that's the case, you can disable those tests. I can show you on the platform. For example, I will just take this branch. So for each branch, you can choose the tags. Okay, I'll just modify here. I can choose the tags of the test or disable one. This is explained in the Odoo documentation how to specify which test has to be run, which not, if you want only to run one and so on. So there you are full freedom here. So that could be a fix for your problem.
Okay. Another question: can we change the main version production of a project, the migration?
So you can only change it going up, so by upgrading, but you cannot go backwards in time. Yeah, it could be nasty to go back in time, even if you do it locally. But you can only go up through upgrade.
Okay.
Sometimes it can be really fast if you don't have a lot of customization or customization that have been well done. It can be really fast to do so. So yeah.
A question about Git provider.
Yes.
Any plans on changing or allowing integration with other provider than GitHub, for example, GitLab?
Yeah, and so no, for the moment there are no plans for that. Often when we have this question, it's because clients host themselves their GitLab on-premise, so there is, in the following mindset, no reason for them not to go also on-premise, but there is no issue, there is no possible plans for that for the moment, but there are workarounds. If you really want, you can mirror your GitLab project on GitHub and then interface it with, then it will work with Odoo.sh.
Okay, and maybe a last question. Any way to rebuild a staging branch without reloading the production data or doing an empty commit?
What? Can you repeat?
You can read. Any way to rebuild a staging branch, it's the last one, without reloading the production data or doing an empty commit?
So no, there is no. If you rebuild the production, the staging environment, you will take the latest information from the staging from the production environments, and for the other part of the question, you are not forced to do an empty commit to rebuild the staging. In fact, at any point in time, you can go to the builds view and rebuild it yourself. So if I just, I'm in a grad project, can click and it will be rebuild automatically with the latest version, with the latest data from the production. You are not forced to do a commit. The same goes for the development environment. I can just rebuild it and it goes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That was it. Thank
Perfect.
you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.